I did a test. I took 3 modern military watches with me at the shooting range to see if they're built well enough and resistant to shocks and recoil. So let's see if I put these watches in danger. Disclaimer.
For the wicked, I'm bad and I'm blessed. Put it to the test. For the rest, there ain't no contest. So what's next? Got me leveling up, I'm obsessed. I bring the fire like I'm possessed. My personnel and my clique is the best. There ain't no contest. There ain't no one like, cause are you dumb or you crazy? There's no way, G. My clique, we handling biz. But you and your clique just act fugazi. You couldn't persuade me to give a damn, it just don't faze me. I got my Xbox, you can't play me. Money in the text box, I get paid.
So what's the deal with this? Basically, I did this experiment for 2 reasons. One, I'm a big fan of such a discipline. Rifle maneuvering was one of my favorite disciplines back in my military reenactment days. Plus, I was uber curious to see how a modern automatic watch actually performs against the recoil of the weapons. So due to this military reissued bronze, I kinda combined them nicely. By the way, I want to thank Albini Prassa for offering these watches for review. Now, what I was precisely hoping to achieve, I wanted to see if automatic watches can be affected by the recoil and the blast waves of the weapons, to see if their accuracy can be disbalanced. As you can see on this repetitive shoot, you can spot how the recoil spreads from the weapon towards the wrist continued on the arm. In fact, you can see how the watches are simply wobbling on the wrist while shooting repetitively, which is basically a direct force transmitted through your hands and arms, and the shock wave or the blast wave which rapidly expands high pressure air from the muzzle. According to my research, mechanical watches with springs and gears and so on can be sensitive to strong shocks. The recoil of a firearm enables a sharp impulse which could potentially disturb the balance wheel or the escapement, causing wear or damage if it's repeated frequently, especially with large caliber rifles or shotguns. That said, most modern mechanical watches designed for military, diving or sports use are built with shocks protection systems like the Inca block. These make them resilient enough to handle normal shooting activities without noticeable accuracy loss. Competitive shooters and military personnel often wear mechanical watches without issues. In my case, I took these 3 brand new military watches, I measured their accuracy before the event and after to find out if any of these parameters might affect them in any way. So the conclusion is the following. During shootings, I tried to make drills with repetitive shots to create continuous shocks, in total shooting around 100 rounds with diverse pistols or adapted submachine guns, confirming that the watches weren't affected in any way either by the blast wave or the waving recoil. And from the accuracy perspective, they performed very well, remaining within 0 and +3 seconds. Actually, these Benrus watches are more accurate than Rolexes, imagine. I noticed a few people confuse these military watches without a logo with the Hamilton khaki, but this is legendary as well. It's Benrus. So what's Benrus and where's the logo from the dial? Basically, Benrus is a historical American brand founded in 1921 by 3 Romanian immigrants, the Lazarevic brothers. Across time, this brand created quite some magnificent watches, and I had the chance to see an exquisite collection of vintage watches from the brand. But most important, this brand issued military watches for the American Army in the Vietnam War. The unmistakable Benrus DTU, which is an icon of the post-World War II field watches and the mysterious sought-after Type 1. The brand Benrus was recently reinvented and redefined from scratch, now with Swiss-American ownership, with the aim to create genuine military watches respecting with accuracy the initial military specs. The price point of the new collection is different and the quality level is also. That being said, I want to show you the following watch, the Benrus DTU2A. This is the iconic field watch from Vietnam, reissued in 34mm, respecting basically the sizing and the original military specs. What I've discovered, it's actually super interesting. You'll notice across this video that this DTU is a bit different. Being used with the modern field watches and their ratio, you might say they are correctly proportioned and scaled at 38mm from the original ones. But the truth is, by scaling and adapting the modern ones from the original 34mm version, having both in comparison, you'll realize that they don't have too many things in common or they look different. The 34mm version having specific proportions and a specific dial size It feels and looks totally different than any other ratioed modern take of the field watches. For example, there is a specific ratio between the dial size against the bezel against the outer case compared to the modern ones. Kind of the same parallel with the Rolex Explorer in 36mm. The depth of the dial is different, with a sterile curved dial and the curved hands, or the second hand which is loomed compared to the newer models, which was only loomed on the arrow tip. All these discrete details are simply adding a different composed feeling of how a field watch was actually made back in the days. That's the power of the Benrus DTU. It's a field watch, but it's totally different than you are used to see and experience. As extra highlights, these new models are waterproof, 10 bar as waterproofness, equipped with the ETA 2890 movements, if you can imagine. These watches are regulated in-house, and I can say that these 3 watches tested by myself are sitting between -3 and 0 seconds. So 34mm, but can you wear it on larger wrists? Of course you can, but if you care about modern sizing etiquette, you'll have to know that in relationship with a bond strap, the watch looks extremely well being isolated in leather. It provides a unitary special combo and looks genuine on the wrist no matter the size. Personally, I can't wait the autumn to grab myself one. I feel it works brilliantly in combo with a khaki long-sleeved shirt, for instance. And by the way, I haven't introduced you to my Gucci gear. Basically, for this episode I wanted to have 2 setups, a civilian concealment setup toned in olive for the DTU models and a generic US Special Forces gear for the Type 1 model. As clothing, I used the Cry Precision combat shirt and pants in multicam, or an olive 511 field shirt and pants. On the head I had an obscure helmet with a high cut to host the MSA Swordens, Wilcox night vision arm, 2 strobes and Oakley M-frame protective glasses. As vest I used a London Bridge Trading 6094 light in Ranger green without a cummerbund, multicam eagle and Cry Precision pouches, plus real body armor plates resistant to 762 bullets. Salmon combat boots, a Safariland leg holster, and as weaponry I shot various Glocks with or without a Ronnie kit, a strange AK with 9mm as caliber due to the shooting range regulations. You know how it is, you train the way you fight. The second watch with a sterile dial featured in this test is the mil-spec Benrus Type 1. This is actually my personal watch. A special design in my opinion, which also was equipping the US forces in Vietnam back in the days. A rare watch which is currently hunted by collectors. People are paying over 10 grand to find one in great conditions. This Type 1 was designed to fulfill multiple tasks. Besides being waterproof, ensuring 365 meters as a solid diver instrument, has as well a bezel with multiple features like a timer, a diving bezel, but being capable also to act as a GMT. Because the bezel of this watch was designed as per military specs, this is friction, is bidirectional and has strong loom on the ceramic bezel, but also obviously on the markers and the hands. I made the pause of 1 month from the test until the launch of this video, having also the chance to take the watch with me on vacation, and I have to say I enjoyed it. I personally love this diver. This is my go-to summer watch because there's something special about its emptiness. I actually appreciate its raw, purposeful appearance without any extra specs or the logo on the dial, executed and designed after military specs, obviously, with a single mission: to serve, not to impress. So that's something which I appreciate. I like its matte appearance with a blasted case and the lack of reflective elements, red from the front. There are still slight differences between the original model and this one. This has a ceramic bezel with loomed numerals and markers. The old one had an acrylic insert with luminous tritium. This diver basically ensures higher contrast, white tones on black foreground, unveiling a raw appearance with well-applied loom due to the raised applied markers on the hands, which is a modern take and different from the iconic one. On land, I wear it on a green FKM rubber or on a Marine National strap in combo with a Garmin compass because it looks cool and it amplifies even more the vibe of a military tool. Where underwater I used either a turquoise FKM or a black FKM with shoulders. What I have to conclude, it is very comfortable. Apparently this design in this case size sits really well on the wrist. I often forget I have it on my wrist despite its weight of a stainless steel case. Last but not least, the third tested field watch is a more commercial version of the iconic DTU. The 38mm version of a field watch, the Benrus DTU2A, which features a rose bronze case. This watch is special and impressive in person because it offers an interesting combo between bronze and green. Both are warm tones but contradictory and beautiful at the same time. The dial tone actually gets brighter on normal light and darker in low lights, where it can be confused with a black dial. Chromatically, this watch features a combo of patina and white with a green sunburst accented with a small red seconds hand arrow. It is created in the same manner as the 34mm DTU with a curved dial and curved hands, following basically the same military specs, has a screwing crown, 10 bars waterproofness, being equipped also with an ETA 2A92. And as wearability, due to its thin construction, it wears very comfortable, it lays down on the wrist surface nicely, and the combo of bronze with the chameleonic green tone is simply attractive with that patina leather strap. That being said, these are my thoughts in regard to this personal test which I did. At least I like the trailer. I'm actually excited that I had the chance to combine shootings with military watches. The timing was good. Apologies for the delay of this video. I had a busy period and then I went to vacation, but now I have more of a predictable schedule, so I can be often more present. In the end, I want to thank once again Albini Prassa for offering these watches for test, and I'm really curious to know what do you think about these new reissued Benrus watches. Please let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you're new around, please consider subscribing for future episodes. Thanks for watching, and until next time, for the brave, by the brave.